Ethan adjusted his shirt nervously, glancing once more at the small cafe entrance. A single dad to a lively 7-year-old girl, blind dates weren't exactly his thing. But his friends insisted, "You deserve happiness too." The bell above the door chimed, and he looked up. A woman entered, graceful yet different from what he expected. She was stunning, with sharp eyes softened by a warm smile, dressed elegantly in a navy blouse. But what caught him off guard was the sleek wheelchair she maneuvered with quiet confidence. For a moment, Ethan froze. Not because of her chair, but because of the strength she carried. She radiated presence. She was clearly someone used to commanding rooms, and yet, here she was, vulnerable, on a blind date. "Ethan?" she asked, her voice gentle but sure. "Yes," he said, standing quickly, pulling out the chair across from him before realizing. He stopped, embarrassed. She noticed. Her lips curved into a half-smile. "It's okay. This is me. No apologies." They sat, silence hovering briefly before Ethan's natural warmth broke through. "I have to admit, I didn't expect to feel this nervous," he chuckled. Her eyes softened. "Neither did I. I'm Claire. CEO of Ashford Enterprises." His jaw nearly dropped. He wasn't sitting across from just anyone, he was sitting across from one of the most powerful women in the city. But for the first time in a long while, Claire didn't feel like a CEO. She felt like a woman hoping for something real. And Ethan? He was about to surprise her in ways she never imagined. The waiter brought menus, but neither of them opened theirs. Claire noticed Ethan's hands, steady, strong, yet a little rough, like someone who worked hard and lived simply. She wasn't used to that. Most men she met were polished, rehearsed, trying to impress. "So, a CEO on a blind date," Ethan said, leaning forward. "That's not something you hear every day." Claire smirked. "You'd be surprised. Power doesn't guarantee companionship. Sometimes it scares people away." Her honesty disarmed him. "Well, I'm not scared. I'm a single dad. I've faced spilled paint on white walls, fevers at 3 a.m., and math homework I couldn't solve. Trust me, nothing scares me anymore." That made her laugh, a genuine sound she hadn't heard from herself in months. She studied him closely. He wasn't impressed by her title, nor did he pity her wheelchair. He just saw her. "Tell me about your daughter," Claire asked. His face lit up instantly. "Lila. She's 7. Smart, funny, thinks I'm a superhero, though she's quickly realizing I'm just a dad who burns pancakes." Claire's chest tightened at the tenderness in his voice. For all her success, she had traded family for boardrooms, late-night deals, and endless travel. She didn't regret her empire, but she had moments of emptiness. Moments like this, watching Ethan glow when he spoke of his daughter. By the time dessert came, Claire realized something. This wasn't the calculated networking dinner she was used to. This was real. And the sincerity in Ethan's eyes was more valuable than any billion-dollar contract. For the first time in years, she felt like a woman, not just a CEO. And that realization both scared and thrilled her. The evening breeze cooled as they stepped outside. Claire maneuvered her wheelchair with practiced ease, but the uneven pavement made her pause. Before she could adjust, Ethan moved beside her without hesitation. "May I?" he asked softly, placing his hand near the wheel. She looked up, surprised. Most people either ignored her chair or rushed in without asking, making her feel small. But Ethan, he gave her the choice. "Sure," she whispered. Together, they guided her over the rough path. Such a small gesture, but it made Claire's throat tighten. She wasn't used to kindness without strings attached. At the corner, Ethan checked his watch. "I should get Lila from my neighbor soon. But I don't want this night to end." Claire hesitated, then surprised herself. Maybe I could meet her sometime? His eyebrows rose. Most people kept their distance when they heard about his daughter, seeing her as baggage. But here was Claire, one of the busiest women in the city, asking to be part of that world. He smiled. She'd love that. She thinks every powerful woman is a superhero. You'd fit the role perfectly. Claire laughed, but inside, something shifted. She hadn't thought of herself as a hero in years. She had built towers of glass and steel, yet felt invisible in her own loneliness. And now, a man who had every reason to guard his heart was offering her a glimpse into his most precious treasure. It wasn't business. It wasn't strategy. It was trust. And that trust left her quietly stunned. 2 days later, Claire found herself standing, or rather, sitting, in Ethan's modest living room. Toys were scattered across the carpet, drawings taped to the fridge, and the faint smell of cookies filled the air. It was messy, chaotic, alive, so different from her immaculate penthouse. "Daddy!" Lila ran in, her curls bouncing, a stuffed unicorn in her arms. But she stopped mid-run when she noticed Claire. Her big brown eyes widened. "Hi," Claire said gently, wheeling herself forward. "I'm Claire. Your dad's friend." For a tense moment, Lila just stared. Then, with childlike innocence, she blurted, "Are you a superhero too?" Claire blinked. "Superhero? Daddy says all strong women are superheroes." Lila stepped closer, curiosity outweighing hesitation. "What's your power?" Claire felt a lump in her throat. She could list business achievements, stock market victories, global deals, but none of that mattered here. Instead, she smiled softly. "My power is never giving up. Even when life tries to stop me." Lila grinned. "That's a good one." Then, without warning, she climbed onto Claire's lap, as if the wheelchair was nothing more than an interesting chair. Claire froze, her heart racing, before laughter bubbled out. Ethan watched the scene quietly, his eyes misting. He had feared his daughter might shy away, but instead, she embraced Claire instantly. In that moment, something deeper than admiration sparked between them. Not CEO and single dad. Not wheelchair and independence. Just 3 souls, unexpectedly fitting together. And Claire realized she hadn't felt this kind of belonging, maybe ever. Later that evening, after Lila had fallen asleep, Claire and Ethan sat on the porch with mugs of tea. The air was still, the kind of quiet that allowed unspoken truths to breathe. "You know," Claire began, staring into the night, "people usually look at me and see one of 2 things, power or pity. But with you, I feel normal." Ethan turned to her. "Normal is overrated. I see someone strong, funny, and brave enough to come on a blind date with a stranger." She chuckled. "Brave? I run a company worth billions." "Exactly," he said with a grin. "And yet you still laughed at my burnt pancake stories. That's the kind of brave I admire." Silence fell again, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was full, warm, hopeful. Claire's eyes softened. "I don't know where this goes, Ethan. But tonight, I don't want to be the CEO. I just want to be me." He reached over, his hand brushing hers. And that's more than enough. For Claire, who had lived a life measured in boardroom wins and quarterly reports, it was the first time she measured herself in laughter, kindness, and connection. And for Ethan, who had shielded his heart for so long, it was the first time he saw a future where he wasn't alone. The blind date that began with surprise had ended with something neither expected, hope. Sometimes, the most unlikely beginnings lead to the most beautiful stories.